Take a look at the screen. I won't tell you what this is. I'll try to get you to make out what it is. Whoa, where is, I don't have the picture there for you. There it is. You see that? Can you make out what this is? Yeah. That is the president.
What you're looking at right now is a news story covering one of the most infamous bootleg brands of all time, a restaurant in China named Obama Fried Chicken. Now, despite being one single location, hidden somewhere in the vast country of China, it went on to gain worldwide attention and negative press for the pretty obvious problematic nature of their business name and logo. So today, I'm going to tell you guys the story of Obama Fried Chicken and the story of how the entire OFC controversy was spawned off of what seems like a huge cultural misunderstanding, and how, in the process, I managed to solve one of the biggest mysteries surrounding Obama Fried Chicken. Alright, so to understand why this was such a big issue, first, we need to understand the story of Obama Fried Chicken. OFC was in no way a large brand. Quite the opposite actually, as the location they served food out of was no bigger than most bathrooms. The Obama Fried Chicken restaurant was accompanied by their official signage, which features the letters OFC designed in the KFC style. However, the real thing that brought this small chicken shop so much attention was the inclusion of Obama, who was stylized the same way as Colonel Sanders, aka the logo for KFC. Now, according to all available information, the official OFC store had its grand opening in late September 2011. Located somewhere near a university, OFC seemed to have been welcomed by area locals as well as university students. Pictures of the OFC sign popped up online in the days following their grand opening, and to the surprise of the owners, the pictures of their storefront started going viral. Now, the reason this went viral, in my opinion, was for two reasons. Reason number one was that it fit in perfectly with those other photos you see online of bootlegged items, which oftentimes result in some ridiculous yet pretty funny pictures. Such as this photograph of a supposed Nintendo Polystation, which for some reason includes a toy gun. So seeing as how OFC was just as ridiculous and random, the pictures began to blow up. But even though it is a pretty laughable business concept, there was another more serious reason, which is the real reason why Obama Fried Chicken found worldwide fame. And that was the racial aspect of this sign. So I'm not sure to what level racial stereotypes in America are understood in other countries, but basically in America, there's this long-standing racist stereotype surrounding black people and fried chicken. Now, I'm not going to get into depth explaining this racist trope, but basically in America, one of the main go-to stereotypes that people use against African Americans is basically black people love fried chicken. So naturally, a sign which has one of the biggest, if not the biggest figure in black culture, Barack Obama, representing a restaurant selling fried chicken, is obviously going to cause a bit of controversy online. Tons of people started sharing the image, commenting on the sign, and calling it flat out racist. The OFC shop caused so much controversy that on October 3rd, 2011, the New York Post released an article titled, "Chinese Give Barack the Bird." And this article stated the following: a fast food restaurant in Beijing called Obama Fried Chicken was derided in America yesterday as a racist ripoff. Its sign shows a grinning caricature of President Obama's head on a skinny version of Colonel Sanders' body. More interesting though is that the post went as far as to contact civil rights activist Reverend Al Sharpton, who said, "It's insulting, offensive, and plays to racial stereotypes." What makes it even worse is that we deal with this global competition between the US and China. For them to be mocking the leader of the free world, I find it even more appalling. After this article came out, numerous other news organizations ran stories about OFC, making this small chicken shop into a worldwide news story, bringing with it a lot of attention.
This small fried chicken shop is located on the outskirts of Beijing, China, but its concept is all American.
The news report you're watching now comes directly from CBS News, who actually went to Obama Fried Chicken for themselves and even met up with their owner, a man named Zhu, to learn about his business. More or less, all they found was a simple man making chicken. But they also found that Obama Fried Chicken was no longer the name of the shop, and OFC had now become UFO. And even though they never went on record as to what UFO actually meant, they did decide to keep the Obama Colonel Sanders logo. Now, the name change came as a result of the Washington Post contacting KFC China, who responded by saying that they were considering legal action for the copyright infringement. So they changed the OFC name in hopes of avoiding a lawsuit. Just a few days following the grand opening, Obama Fried Chicken became one of the most infamous brands in the world, bringing an overwhelmingly large amount of notoriety to the shop. And this attention was just too much for the owners. And after several days of non-stop attention, as well as being pressured by the local police department, the sign was officially taken down, and it's said to have been burned in response to all of the negative attention it brought. And by October 13th, 2011, the chicken shop also closed. And just like that, Obama Fried Chicken vanished just as quickly as it appeared, and left behind nothing but these pictures and the accusations of racism as its only legacy. And the photographs of Obama Fried Chicken has since become an iconic picture in the Chinese bootleg genre, and it still gets passed around to this day, such as this skit from Stephen He. Now, originally, I just wanted to cover the history of OFC in this video, but during my research, I actually found that there are two parts of this story which are unknown, and once shared, I think it actually puts the story of Obama Fried Chicken in a new light. Our first untold part of this story actually surrounds the racism of the sign, which, listen, I'm pretty sure anyone can understand why a sign like this would raise a couple eyebrows and cause a stir online. However, what's interesting is that the person who designed the sign, the Zhu guy from earlier, didn't seem to have any knowledge whatsoever about the racial stereotypes involved in the entire OFC controversy. You see, CBS News interviewed him during the coverage of Obama Fried Chicken, where Zhu said the following: "I think Obama has a great smile. He looks kind. I hope he can bring my small shop some good fortune. Like a money god. Maybe I worship Obama a bit too much. So as I drew the logo, it looked more and more like Obama. I didn't draw him intentionally." Now, some people might write off what he said as sarcasm, but throughout my research, I've come to the conclusion that it seems as if Zhu and his co-owners didn't understand the racism issues of Obama Fried Chicken, and simply only used the Obama logo because, quite simply, they liked Obama. And this concept is only furthered by the fact that anytime Zhu was interviewed about the problem with his sign, he seemed to have only ever mentioned the copyright issues. Again, any American watching this probably doesn't understand how Zhu couldn't have known, but again, the stereotypes we know in our culture aren't always fully known in other cultures. I'm not saying that racism against black people isn't present in Chinese cultures, but their racism isn't the same as our racism, as weird as that is to say. One example to back up the idea that Zhu didn't understand what he did is ironically enough from KFC China, with a commercial which again ironically came out the same year as the OFC controversy. This commercial shows an Obama lookalike promoting a new KFC fish sandwich.
Not only for your mom, but for you, for your stomach, for a better taste.
This commercial also caused a bit of controversy, causing it to get pulled from circulation. So if the real KFC China didn't even recognize the problems they might face with having Obama sell their damn fish sandwich, who can really blame Zhu for not realizing the problem with his sign? But despite Zhu's misunderstanding, the world practically rallied against OFC, successfully too if I might add, closing Obama Fried Chicken once and for all. Hell, if you go to the Wikipedia page for the stereotype of fried chicken, it literally mentions Obama Fried Chicken, which is crazy to think that one simple misunderstanding branded this guy as a full-blown racist to most of the world. Now that's the first issue I have with the Obama fried chicken story, but the other issue I have with this entire story is this. Obama fried chicken was a bona fide worldwide controversy. Yet, despite the worldwide recognition, the actual location of Obama fried chicken is a mystery. None of these articles ever stated the exact location of OFC, only ever referring to it as simply a restaurant in Beijing. So the actual location of Obama fried chicken is a mystery, which is pretty funny and interesting when you consider the negative attention it received despite being some random, mysterious, ridiculously small food shop somewhere in China. So that begs the question, where exactly was OFC? This question bothered me throughout my research, and listen, I understand it might seem trivial to you, but think about it. This tiny chicken shop that just so happened to cause a worldwide incident by accident has absolutely zero records in regard to where it actually was, and that's just insane to think about. To give us a little more insight into why exactly finding the location of something like Obama fried chicken is important, I reached out to fellow YouTuber WavyWebSurf, who, in my opinion, is the #1 channel for finding the backstories to some of the most iconic memes online. And he's even done an entire video about finding lost meme locations. And I asked him why exactly the stories behind these memes matter and why anybody should ever care.
Jeez, Kobe, glaze me harder, why don't you? But if we're being honest, bro, it's all about getting the full story. For people who give a shit about internet lore, there's just something cathartic about discovering the real-world location of a meme that you've just casually seen on your timeline for years. It's like, oh, this was a whole historical event with a damn wikia associated to it. And when meme locations are found, they often become these bizarro internet holy sites that the chronically online will visit in real life and pay their respects, which I think is pretty awesome. In regard to what you're doing here, I'll say the physical location behind a meme is often the most confounding variable. It's the hardest piece of any internet mystery to solve. There's tons of famous memes and viral events that are unsolved in regard to their location, so you're doing God's work here. Who gives a shit how seemingly unimportant of a venture this may be? I personally am very much curious as to where the fuck the Obama fried chicken place is physically located. If you end up finding it, you're actually goated, bro. Good luck.
So now that we're all caught up to speed, we have our final goal. We are going to find the location where Obama fried chicken once stood. But as you probably know, China is a huge place with a lot of people. I mean a lot of people. And additionally, it doesn't help that I'm a big dumb American, so navigating any context clues this sign might give me is not going to happen. And honestly, of the very few clues I had, it wasn't looking good for me at all. All I really know is that somewhere in China, near some sort of college, a small chicken shop was open for about 2 to 3 weeks back in 2011. And all I had was the 2 original pictures as well as some screen grabs from the original CBS news story covering the location, which did luckily give me this wide shot which gives us an idea of the area surrounding it. And yeah, that's basically all we have. The only thing I could really do was use Google Street View to start looking at all the colleges in Beijing, and even though there are dozens upon dozens of colleges, I knew it's what I had to do. Now I wanted to make it a little more interesting, so I went and borrowed a VR headset from cousin Jacob, who you might recognize from the patrons at the beginning of my videos. Shameless plug, patreon.com/KobeSucks. So I went back home, downloaded WorldLens VR, booted it up, and just like that, I was going to be able to look around the earth. I took a bit to get my bearings and visited some sites, including the home I grew up in.
So now how do I go down to Street View? Wow, look, this is the house I grew up at. There we go. Oh, I picked the right one for sure.
Now that I knew what I was getting myself into, it was time to start looking around China. So I put the location of the first college and set off to find Obama fried chicken. But it was right at this moment I learned something.
So you know how like you could walk around Google Street View? For some reason, anywhere and China is like not letting me do Street View. It's like I can't access it.
So I did a little bit of research and I learned something that I didn't know about China.
Alright, so apparently there is like a law or a rule on behalf of China that you're not allowed to get like street data. China doesn't have Google Street View primarily due to Chinese government restrictions on geographic data. Basically, in layman's terms, they're not letting Google Street View happen. Which means that I don't know of any ways of finding Obama fried chicken.
So I started looking for a way around the whole wacky Chinese censorship drama, and after a bit, I suddenly remembered something I learned about while talking with my buddy Glowblood. So in my opinion, Glowblood is the best person who can find mysterious locations. Me and him are currently working on a video together, but during our conversations, he taught me about a website named Baidu. Baidu is the Chinese equivalent of Google Maps. But what makes it even better is that Baidu also has its very own Street View, with several years of data included. Now, their Street View is by no means as expansive as Google Maps and basically only includes main roads. And on top of that, the entire website is not made for someone from the West to navigate as everything is in Chinese. This website is going to be challenging, but I have to use it as it's really the only way that we're going to find Obama fried chicken. So I started gathering the addresses of colleges in Beijing, translating them into Chinese, visiting them on the map, and walking around the roads just hoping to find anything which might look like OFC. I did this for hours, visiting around 10 colleges before giving up for the time being, to see if I could come up with any other pieces to help me narrow it down. I went to bed that night exhausted from looking at miles and miles of random Chinese roads. I even had a Chinese dream that night, as weird as that sounds, and no, I'm not making that up. I woke up the next morning and my mind was still occupied by the entire hunt and the realization that I'm gonna have to spend the next few weeks of my life exploring random roads in China and maybe not even finding the location at the end of it all. The problem is that Baidu only ever archives main roads, so if OFC was even one street over from a main road, there would be no way of finding it, ever. Was this gonna be worth it, or should I just give up? But then, an idea hit me. An idea which I'm ashamed I didn't think of any sooner. Okay, so I'm using Baidu as a way to explore China, and I'm able to do so since it's a Chinese service and I'm using Chinese search terms. And up until this point, I've been looking for clues about OFC on the American side of the internet, but similar to my process with Baidu, why don't I try translating Obama fried chicken to see if there's any more evidence? Now, translating Obama fried chicken into Chinese gave me this, and searching it on Baidu gave me nothing. However, searching for it on Google actually led me to an article I hadn't seen up until this point. And when translated, it gave me the biggest break of this entire hunt. Yesterday morning, the reporter came to the OFC, which is less than 50 meters from the Aerospace City campus of Beijing City College. I couldn't believe it. We finally had a prime suspect of which college OFC was located near. Beijing City College, otherwise known as Beijing City University. And if you need further proof, cross-referencing this college with Obama fried chicken in English brought up some obscure news articles which state the owners of OFC were students of Beijing City University. We finally had the place to start looking. Obama fried chicken was closer than ever. So close I could taste it. So now, we only have one thing to do. It's time to find OFC. Let's do this. Those look like the Juggernog fridges. These don't look like, business. This looks more like, apartments and stuff. This doesn't look like the kind of place that would have Obama fried chicken in it. What scares me is all these side roads right here that aren't archived. These buildings are a lot taller, so I'm looking at these. See, these kind of start to look more like what we're looking for, but these buildings are still a lot taller. College campus is right here. We're still not seeing like shops. So the south side of Beijing City University seemed to be a residential area with no signs of any businesses at all. And even worse, the east road seemed like a literal dirt road. So I decided just to jump ahead to the north road. So why don't we skip to the other side of the campus, the parallel road. And let's see, 2013. There's like no buildings. I mean, over there, and again, we have these side roads right here. So unless it's on this main road, I mean, we got some buildings up here, it looks like. Why don't we skip forward a lot here? I continued my method of moving down the road and then looking around for any signs of Obama fried chicken, and honestly, it wasn't looking good for me. And it was hard for me to not be worried about the possibility that OFC was going to be on a side road that wasn't archived by Baidu. You know, there's only so many streets, you know, none of these back streets are archived, so we kind of gotta hope that it's on this main street. We're actually starting to see like signs of, you know, buildings and stuff. Also, these power lines. I'm wondering if these power lines, because it looks like it comes to an end and then it turns right here. I wonder if I follow some of these power lines. Ooh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What is this up here? Ooh, wait a minute. Hey. We're kind of starting to get somewhere, I think. We have, you know, like actual shops and stuff near the campus. I wouldn't imagine a building like this would get cut down, though. Chopped down, whatever the hell the word is. Wait a minute, is this... Could this be one of the, like, the campus... I don't know if they're dorms or apartments or what, but could these back here be one of these? Yeah, because look, the top floor is a different color. Okay, wait, here's another one of those. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, there's a building. Here's this little overhang. Wait a minute. These power lines. We have the overhang. Wait a minute. Is that... Dude, wait. Wait a fucking second, dude. 1, 2, 3, 4. You got the overhang. You got the building in the background. Wait, dude. Wait, let's see if we can back up a little bit here. Wait a minute. No way. No way. Look, you have the one spot right here, another spot here. You got the glass windows, you got the overhang. Dude, this is it. Dude, no fucking way. Wait a minute. So right here. Oh my God. Right here is where Obama fried chicken was. No way. So even this sign still has the spot left over. There's the building, and dude, this is where Obama Fried Chicken was. No fucking way. Yeah, here's the pot. Dude, this is it. No way. No fucking way. There it is. We did it. Oh, dude, that's fucking awesome. I spent a bit of time walking around the area, taking it all in, and confirming that this was the right location. The apartment buildings behind OFC were still present in the Baidu screenshots from 2013, as were the power lines which you could see in the original images. You can even see the remnants of one of the signs above OFC in the original photo is still present in these Baidu screenshots. But what's more interesting to me about this area is that not only is Obama Fried Chicken no more, but all of the other businesses which were once here are also closed. It even seems like the building with that green sign on it became some sort of parking garage type beat. And in case you want to visit the location for yourself, I included the link to this exact spot in the description as well as putting it on screen right now. Visit this link and you'll be able to see the sacred grounds of Obama Fried Chicken for yourself. In this spot close to 15 years ago stood a tiny restaurant which caused such a huge controversy. Yet within a few years, the restaurant and its entire street for that matter were destroyed and replaced. And as of the latest update on Baidu, this area is nothing more than a dead road used to store buses, with absolutely no signs of what once stood in this exact spot. And honestly, I think there's a lesson in this. You see, the fact that this spot shows absolutely no sign of ever having any sort of businesses, let alone the most controversial business in the world for about 2-ish weeks in October of 2011, kinda says something about how time, and the world for that matter, moves on. Yeah, sure, Obama Fried Chicken was pretty controversial for a period, but just like anything at all, good or bad, there comes a point where you're going to be forgotten. There's going to come a day where you and your ideas that you present in the world will be thought about for the final time ever. And the other part that I think is important to reiterate is the fact that Zeus seemed to have genuinely misunderstood what exactly made his sign so offensive to others. He made the sign because he liked Obama, and yet tons of people were left offended and disgusted, even though that isn't what he meant. All of this caused Zoo to officially burn the sign because it caused them nothing but trouble, which also brought an end to Zoo and his co-owner's dream of owning their own business, killing Zoo's dreams in their tracks. All I see now is a metaphor of how easily a misunderstanding can cause so many issues in the real world. Instead of taking the time to understand Zoo's point of view, the entire world seemingly assumed Zoo's point of view and labeled him as a racist. Instead of taking the time to hear someone out, they assumed his belief and acted accordingly. Kinda sounds a bit familiar to today's world, doesn't it? The story of OFC ultimately reflects the problem with people today, and how we're so quick to judge each other, instead of taking the time to listen and to try to work some stuff out. I know, I'm sounding like I'm making this little chicken store into way more than it is, but that wouldn't be the first time someone made a big deal out of Obama Fried Chicken. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing too much with this outro, and maybe this entire thing should be nothing more than a picture of a stupid sign. Maybe so. But now, when OFC is thought about for the final time ever, there's a chance it won't be thought of as just some dumb racist sign. And maybe now it can stand for something even greater. And with that, there's only one way I could think of to finish this story. Maybe instead of fighting about this, let's just eat some chicken.
You know what it is, cause it's the way that it's always been. We've had good times and parties since we're all just a couple of kids. And everybody that I know has a wish. Tell me now, can we count you in? We've got the parties and good times, that's the philosophy. Since I was was a kid, I always kept it supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. We set it in motion, and you know that we all have a good time chilling by the ocean when we're swimming underneath palm trees. And these ladies love to party, cause they know that we bring the good time under sunshine, and we're chilling. Southern California loving, and we're never gonna stop bumping these subs.